Bonjour, hi! Today I wanted to have a little bit of fun and I wanted to do something that I don't necessarily or not intentionally do on here, and that is makeup. I have been a fan of makeup ever since I was a teenager. I used to watch hours and hours and hours of just makeup tutorials, makeup gurus on YouTube, just doing their thing, watching and learning. And it has stuck with me for the past decade because I've just been a fan of makeup ever since. It hasn't gone away, and I just love putting on makeup. I love trying out new things, and I honestly love the way the makeup makes me feel. As weird as it may sound, it just like, to me, it's a form of art, it's a form of self-care, and it's just a form of like, it's just a way for me to connect with my femininity, and I'm really enjoying it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about my glowy, dewy summer daily makeup routine. Nobody asked for it, but I don't care because I filmed it already and this is the result. So if you'd like to know what I do and what I use to achieve this makeup look, you're at the right place. So I want to say right before getting into it that I'm not a makeup artist, I'm not a makeup professional, I've not taken any classes. It's really just the result of years and years of YouTube watching and TikToks and just having fun with products, putting them on my face, see what works, see what doesn't, and it's, yeah, you've been warned. It's, okay, let's go. First things first, any good makeup starts with good skin preparation. So before you start applying all that makeup, the first thing you should do is actually do skincare, like a proper skincare. And so this is why this morning I did a really hydrating skincare. I even put on pimple patch, which we're gonna take off for makeup, but it's really the key here. It's one of the best kept secret out there. It's actually not a secret anymore, but you should prep your skin and do an actual skincare routine before applying any sort of makeup on your face. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna walk you through what I do. This is honestly just my daily makeup routine to achieve this kind of summer glowy look, but it's the kind of look that I go for the entire year pretty much. And don't you worry, I will be mentioning every single product I use, but I will also be listing them down below for reference. I always like to start off by just prepping the lips as well. If I'm gonna be wearing any lip product, I want my lips to be moisturized and soft and smooth, and I like using the Bioderma, what's it called? Atoderm Stick Live, which is honestly underrated. I feel like people don't talk about this one so much, but they should, because it is very good for chapped lips. Now we can actually get started with primer. This is my holy grail primer. It's one of the best out there. I've tried a few of them, and there's something about its power grip, and it's called Power Grip Primer for a reason, because it just holds everything that you put on after that. It's really just that good. Personally, I could never go back to regular primer simply because the gripping ones, that's what works for me because I have an oily skin, so I need something that really holds on to my skin but also holds on to the product so nothing moves throughout the day. It's just that good. Do you see that stickiness? It's amazing. And it's funny because I remember when I first discovered e.l.f., it was a decade ago. I was actually 14 or 15, and it was not the same as it is today. They really stepped up their game, and their products now are they're just that good. Honestly, they're great. I love e.l.f. Now, I know I said I wouldn't go back to regular primers as primer, but there's this one here that I really like using as like a glow base. So that's what's gonna give you that initial glow, and that's what's going to be sitting under all the other products and just make you shine. This is the Clarins SOS primer, and it highlights the complexion without making it look too golden. I'm just going to show you how good it is. I'm obsessed with this product. If you're on a budget and you'd like something a little bit more budget friendly, there's the Lumi Glotion by L'Oreal. That's also a pretty good alternative. This one is a slightly more tinted, so it's gonna give you a little bit of a tint, and it's also a little bit more shimmery and glowy, but it works just as good. I find myself reaching out for this as much as I reach for this one, so it really depends on my mood, but lately I've been really enjoying the Clarins one because the glow is just great. Next step is color correction. I don't do this every day, but lately I've been having a little bit of breakout and I've been having, you know, redness here and around the face. So I like using a color correcting. This is by Typologie and it's color correcting for redness, T33. And I just will put this on where I have redness to cancel out the red in my skin. That's what color correction is. I usually wait a few seconds, even like a few minutes, to let it dry so it gets a little bit more tacky, so that way it blends a little bit better, because now it's still a little too liquidy for my liking, and I want it to kind of stay where I put it and not just move around the face. So that's a little heads up, but there's plenty of color correcting products out there. I think it's optional. I don't do this every day, but I thought I might as well do it today and include it because it is kind of part of my regular makeup routine. To blend this, I use this kind of dense, small, fluffy brush, and then I will just work it on the skin. I am not a makeup artist, and so I am kind of taking you along the steps with me, but I am not a professional, so this is just how I like doing my makeup, and that's how I've been doing it lately, so you've been warned. Now this is when the magic happens. At least for me, this is kind of my favorite part, where I feel like everything kind of not necessarily comes together, but this is my favorite part because it's just that good. Foundation. And this glowy, summery makeup look is all about, yes, the glow, but it's also about the texture and the look of the skin. And this is the best foundation I have tried yet in my life. And this is a drugstore foundation. It's the L'Oreal True Match Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. Yes, it's a tinted serum, but the coverage is still pretty nice. And what I love the most about this is the texture. It leaves your skin still looking like skin. And I don't know what they put in there, but the longer it sits on your face, the better it gets. Usually it's the opposite. You know, a product kind of like wears out on your skin and then it mixes with the sebum and just every other product. This one feels like it's, honestly, I feel like it's magic because it truly gets better as it sits on your face. And I still can't make any sense out of this, but that's what's been happening with us. It's truly amazing. And this one I just blended out with a beauty sponge. This one is from Real Techniques. It's my go-to makeup sponge. I just love it so much. I've been using, not this one in particular, like not that one, but this shape, this sponge for honestly a decade now. Do you see what I mean when I say this looks like skin? You can still see my skin texture peeking through, but there's still like coverage and glow, and I don't know, it's honestly just like magic to me. I know I've been saying that, but that's truly how it feels. See how well it blends into the skin? Don't forget the ears and the neck because you don't want any harsh lines, but it's so good. I know I look a little pale and it's a summer glowy makeup look, so we gotta warm up the skin a little, but I just want to show you just one last time how friggin' gorgeous my skin looks right now. I know I don't have the best looking skin ever, but this just makes it look stunning and I love it. I think one of the best ways to achieve a glowy, dewy, and summery look is by using liquid and cream products, and so that's why I've been loving using this cream bronzer. This is by the brand called Self Care by Bloom. It's a Quebec-based brand. They're actually in Montreal. It's a Canadian and local brand, and I love them so much, and their bronzer is just out of this world. The pigment is crazy. Like, you have to be a little easy on this because yeah, I always get rid of the excess product on my hand like this, and then I just tap it into the skin and see how pigmented it is, even though I took out the excess product. It's crazy, but it does blend beautifully and it's pretty easy to work with it, so you can always blend if you've put too much, a little bit like I did right now. And I know a lot of people get confused as to where to put bronzer, but honestly, it's just where the sun would naturally hit your skin. You could also use it a little bit as contour. I personally just warm up my tone with it. Just warm up pretty much the whole skin. Well, no, not necessarily the whole face, but you know, I'm a little heavy on the bronzer if you ask me. Again, taking off the excess product and placing it on the temples, the forehead, and the cheekbones. And I'm using the e.l.f. liquid blush brush because it's really dense and it's a little angled, so it's perfect to blend the product into the skin. I also always enjoy to put a little bit on my nose because naturally when I would go outside, the sun would hit the top of my nose like this. So it just feels natural for me to do so with the cream bronzer. See how it's all kind of coming together one step at a time? Moving on to concealer, I love the NYX Bear With Me concealer. Again, it's a serum, kind of. It gives the most beautiful under eye. I'm obsessed with it. For this one, a little goes a long way. And then I just blend it out with the same sponge, but this one I go in with the little pointy tip. And there we have it for concealer. Now, I want to add a little bit of color because it wouldn't be a summery look if I didn't have a little bit of color on my face, right? Again, cream products make a difference in the glowiness and the dewiness, so I'm going in with the Rare Beauty liquid blush in the shade Hope. This one is so damn pigmented, like, it's crazy. The people were not lying when they were talking about how pigmented this is. So I like putting it on the back of my hand and then kind of saturating the brush with it. So I'm kind of priming the brush with the product and then I apply it on the cheek. That way I have a little bit more control as to where I'm actually putting the blush and as to the pigment I'm actually applying on the skin. I used to put this directly on the skin and then I would just end up having too much blush. I mean, there's no such thing as too much. Well, debatable. I love being blushed up. I love the look of a rosy cheek, but it can get crazy easily with this. So that way I feel like I have a little bit more control and I actually can just build the blush look. If I want to be heavy on the blush, I can just build it up. For blush, I'm using the Expert Face Brush by Real Techniques. I just love their brush. Honestly, it's such a nice brand for like face tools, if that makes sense, like brushes and sponges. And then same as a bronzer, I like to put a little bit on my nose because again, the sun would naturally hit my nose if I were to go outside in the sun. Sometimes I would powder my face, set it, and call it a day, but I've really been enjoying doing my eyes, like putting makeup on my eyes lately, so that's what I'm gonna do today. Time to set. Even though this is a glowy look, it is important to set the face with setting powder. I personally like using the Maybelline Fit Me it's not translucent, but it's loose powder. This one's in the shade Light. I go in with a little, I don't even know how these are called, but little loofs like that, little powder puffs. Anyway, that, I take the product and then, and that's an important step, I just like dab the excess product on my hand. That way, what's left on the little poof is actually even and not too saturated with product, so it doesn't get patchy. Essentially, that's what it does. That way, when I set my under eye with it, it just looks smooth and flawless. With that same little technique, I like going around the nose because usually this is where I crease the most, and then a little bit on my chin and a little bit in the center of my forehead and between my eyebrows because usually that's where I tend to get oily faster. So that way everything is set. And then I take a big fluffy brush. I don't even know what that is. There's no name. Got it off of Amazon. And then I take whatever remaining powder in the cap and then I just powder the entire face. If you have a dry skin, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that step, but personally I have oily skin, so it is necessary to powder the face all year round. And yes, liquid and cream products give you that little glow and they look more skin-like, but they tend to move a little bit more around the face, so setting it with powder kind of helps everything to just stay in place and blend together, if that makes sense. So that's why I cannot skip this step. Now that we're done with powder, we can go in with other powder products. That's right, we are adding more bronzer. This one is the Skin Lights by Revlon. It's like a glowy bronzer, and this one again is really buildable. It's not that much pigmented, but that's what I like about it. That way you can, again, as I said, build it, and especially that I've already put on some cream bronzer. I don't want to go be like too heavy on the bronzer, and this one kind of just brings back that little glow. So I'll be strategic about it and use it on the same areas I put on the cream bronzer, but this one just kind of, it's a little more sheer, but there's a nice glow to it. And again, for this brush, I don't really know which one it is. I got it off of Amazon as well, so I'm just gonna put everything, the links below. But it's honestly just like a pretty regular fluffy brush. Remember how I said I love blush? That's right, we're going in again with powder blush. You probably recognize this because this was the star of the show on YouTube a while back, but there was a reason for it because it is that good. This is the Milani Baked Blush in the shade Luminoso. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's just so freaking pretty. And it's glowy, which is perfect for the kind of look we want to achieve. And for this, I'm using the blush brush by Real Techniques. It's just so good and so fluffy, and honestly, it's quite perfect. This is one of my favorite brushes of all time. See that glow? I don't even need to highlight with this. This acts as a blush and highlight, and this is why I'm obsessed with it. And the shade is just beautiful. It's not too orangey, but it's not too pink either. It's honestly perfect. Perfect. Now I'm actually done with face finally, so I like setting it with the All Nighter by Urban Decay. It's my go-to all-time favorite setting spray. I've tried a bunch. I've tried the one size one, hated it. I like the e.l.f. ones, but nothing works as good as this, in my opinion, and this is why I always come back to this one. I have yet to try a setting spray that is as good or better. Like this, it's just my favorite. I go heavy on the setting spray because I want everything to kind of melt together and then set there. I gotta look wet. And I gotta look like this. Now that my face is set, we can actually go on and finish off this look with eye makeup. I don't do anything too crazy because this is still like a daily makeup that I do. So I'm just gonna do a little signature look for me. But first, we gotta curl the lashes. That's like the kind of extra little step that people kind of forget about sometimes, but it does make that much of a difference, at least for me. Okay, this is serious because we're doing a little tiny itty bitty brown liner, and what's funny about this is that I don't actually use an eyeliner for it. I use an eyebrow liner. This is the NYX Snatch and Lift brow liner in the shade Brunette. This is what's been working for me because it's so small and it actually gives me a little bit more precision because I'm going, again, as I said, it's a tiny itty bitty little liner. So we don't want anything too bold and too bulky because it's an everyday look, and it just kind of gives me this little mysterious feline look. It kind of just elongates my eye, and I'm here for it. I'll try and show you as best as I can, but I still have to look at what I'm doing in the mirror. But I only go in not even halfway. It's honestly like a third of the outer edge of the eyelid. So I do that, I let it dry, then I do the other side, and this is the real deal. I have to concentrate for this, but I do a little wing, kind of straight, not too arched up. It's more about like following the lashes that are on the outer edge of my eye. Just look, watch and learn. That's it. If you overdo it, it's ruined. And believe me, it has happened to me in the past. And you gotta remember, they're sisters, not twins. The wings are never gonna be exactly the same, and you just have to be at peace with it. For some reason, I always struggle a little bit more with my right eye, but hey, it's part of the look. Yep, I kind of jinxed myself here. Yeah, no. They're sisters, not twins. Okay, now we're a little bit more even and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. So then we go in with mascara. This is a new favorite of mine. It's the L'Oreal Panorama. It's so good. It's so good. L'Oreal just seems to have the best mascara formulas I know in drugstores. Yes, they dry pretty quickly, but I think it's kind of worth it because the formulas and the wands are just exceptional. And this one, I feel like it's the perfect balance between volume and length, and I think that's why I love it so much. Do you see that? And that's just one coat. I usually go in with 2, but I could just leave it as is and I would be happy with it. You see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Hang in there, we're almost done because we're going in with eyebrows, and I'm using the Fluff Up Brow Wax by Benefit. This is the mini version because I wanted to try it and I had to buy it back again in the regular size because I love it. I used to be the biggest fan of the 24-hour brow setter by Benefit, which is in the same line. This one gives you a more like flattened look. It's a little less natural, and for a moment I liked that look. I like the laminated brow look, but I feel like for a summer look and just for an everyday look, I want to go with something a little bit more natural, and this one does just that. So it doesn't set your eyebrows in place as much as this because this is like literal glue, but it gives your eyebrows a little bit more structure and a little bit more texture, and so they're kind of just fluffy, and I like that look. It does have a little bit of a setting power to it, like it does set the brows in place, but if you touch it, it's gonna move, and that's okay. You know, sometimes your face has to move. You can't just always be stiff like that, and that's okay. And your eyebrows, they move, so it's good. The only thing I find unfortunate with this is it does leave like a little residue on the top of my brows. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a little line as if it moves products, but it's like, it's nothing too crazy. But when you pay attention to it, it kind of bugs me, but I have not found a way to actually not have this. Like I've tried putting on the product as a first step, but then the foundation won't look as good and everything is gonna look like there's gonna be little crumbs of product there, like buildups. So that's the best way I found yet, but if you have tips on how to not make it look like that, just let me know in the comments. I would love to know because, I mean, I don't mind the look, but it's not optimal, right? Obviously, a dewy, glowy, summery makeup look would not be complete without a glossy and juicy lip, so that's what we're going for. I've been obsessed with the L'Oreal Color Rich Anti-Feathering Lip Liner in the shade Rose Absolu. The consistency and the formula of this is honestly unmatched. I'm obsessed with it. I used to be afraid to use lip liners and just like lip products in general other than lip glosses or lip oils because I was afraid of the pigment and the color, but ever since I've been using this one, I feel like it changed me. It made me into a whole different woman, and I'm thankful for you. Thank you, L'Oreal. Once I'm happy with how the liner looks, I like to go in with the e.l.f. Pouty Cloud Lip Plumping Pen, and this one is in the shade Pinky Out, and it's like a little orangish, brownish pink. It looks so nice, and it matches perfectly with the blush. It ties it all together. It has a little minty coconut scent. It's like also a little bit tangly because it is plumping, but it's not like disgustingly spicy. You know how some plumping products are just disgusting? This one is not it. This one is just so nice. Beautiful shine, beautiful color, beautiful formula. I love it. Although sometimes when I don't necessarily feel like going for color on my lips, I will use the OG Clarins lip oil in the shade Honey. And you know what? I feel like adding a little bit more shine. It is already pretty shiny, but I just love this product so much that I just want to add a tiny little bit. And there we have it. This is everything I do and use to achieve this glowy and dewy makeup look. I really had fun making this video. It's kind of out of my comfort zone. It's not necessarily what I do typically, but I enjoyed it very much, and I hope you did too. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I truly, truly, truly mean it. Hopefully I have made a little difference in your day today. If you would like to make a difference in mine, you know what to do. And I'm going to wish you in bonne journée.